What obstacles are getting in the way of your life's journey? Can you think of yourself as a hero, even though you've made a terrible mistake? Are you afraid of going home? These are some of the questions asked during the Odyssey project, where I worked for my senior project. The Odyssey project involves students and volunteers doing theatre work, writing assignments that turn into a script and later a performance, based on Homer's The Odyssey, alongside youth at Ventura Youth Correctional Facility. Homer is the legendary author of the epics The Iliad and the Odyssey. The Odyssey follows Odysseus, who after winning the Trojan War, takes his men to a village where they rape and pillage. This sets them off course and onto a 10-year journey home, through which they face many obstacles along the way. The narrative of this epic is perfect for the project because of its themes of inner strength, resilience, and most of all, of homecoming. We were asked to refer to the boys and men in the facility as youth, because it is a more humanizing term than prisoner, and to ensure that we, and they, recognize that there is more to their identity than being an inmate. Now, I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement before I could work at this facility, so this could be a short speech. I'm not allowed to tell you what the building is like, or the details of what I did each day I was there, including the embarrassing incident when I tried and failed to get through security while wearing an underwired bra. I am allowed to tell you what I did as a member of the project. Along with several others from Santa Barbara and LA, Director Michael Morgan had us working alongside the youth, doing the same exercises that they did. This built trust between us. Discussing Odysseus and his challenges made it easier for us to talk about our own lives and our own difficulties. One writing exercise based off Cerberus, the three-headed hellhound, had us drawing our three greatest fears. This is one youth's drawing. His three greatest fears are losing my mom, letting down my daughter, and being like my father. One writing exercise based off the seductive sirens had us discussing the seductive sirens. The siren song was used to talk about the voice in our head that leads us to make mistakes. I won't get caught. I will get revenge. This is what matters. Throughout his journey, many members of Odysseus' crew died. We were asked to write a letter to someone we had known who had died, saying what we loved about the person and saying goodbye. Many writing exercises focused on the hero through the perspective of his son Telemachus. This posed the most problems to the youth. "Daddy, I can't write about someone I don't know," was one of the responses. One of the purposes of this exercise was to expose patterns in the youth's lives. Many of them talked about having been raised in foster families or by relatives who only took them in order to gain financial benefit. That, alongside addiction and violence in families, caused many of the youth to feel unloved. Without families of their own, youth turn towards gangs to act as those families, and with gangs comes further violence and addiction. Now, this is not every youth's story, but it is a noticeable pattern. One thing that TV programs like Orange is the New Black fail to show are the patterns in the backgrounds of the youth. "I've had my last 7 birthdays here," said one youth. That line stuck with me. He had just turned 20. In a later exercise, I was paired with the same youth while we made masks. The masks we used to represent our inner Athena. Now for my friends, the thought of everyone having an inner Athena might seem horrifying. It has nothing to do with me. It refers to the goddess of the Odyssey, a higher power, a deceased loved one, a spirit guide. We took turns making these masks. One person would lie on the ground while the other put plaster over their face, creating a mold. For a brief period, we were not a high school senior and a criminal convicted for a violent offense. We were just 2 kids making masks. These writing exercises were then turned into the script for our final performance. The performance helped to create pride. Each student would go on stage as their Athena and say all that is good about them. There is power in going on stage and saying that. The more you say it, the more you believe it. And for youth, and for all of us, in order to lead good lives, we need to believe it. Odysseus' goal was to return home. The youth have goals to have careers that benefit their communities, many of whom wish to work with at-risk youth that they once were. It took Odysseus 10 years to reach his goal. Let's hope the youth at Ventura Youth Correctional Facility do so sooner. In many ways, this project has roots in my 9th grade New Orleans research project on prisons, and will continue in my hoped-for career as a psychotherapist working with juvenile offenders. A heartfelt thanks goes out to Miss Tidy for starting the research project that started this passion of mine, to Mr. Faust for putting up with my continued updates, to Miss Bieber and Miss McHale for your continued support and encouragement, to Professor Morgan for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and to all of my teachers who made it possible for me to do so. A final thank you goes out to the youth at the Odyssey project. I will never forget you. Thank you.